we are going to try Fireside Chat Series again and let Miss Deborah try to come on, as we've had a little bit of technical difficulties, but it's okay because, hey, we overcorrect, we help each other. And let me see if she is able to come on. Okay, she's waving. So try to do it now and let me accept you in. I don't know why it's allowing you. Let's see. Okay, I see you waving. Now, see if the button allows you to come on. Because I can see it on my side when you do come on. Let me see if I can invite you. Hold on. I'm going to invite.
I think we're there.
You're there? All right, here we go. Here we go. Let me see. Wait, your face? I don't see your face.
No.
No.
Oh, come
I
on.
can hear you, but I don't see your face.
I see. I see both of us. How about now?
I can. You're not on mine. I can see you. I mean, I can hear you. Definitely, I can hear you, but I don't see you.
Wow. I see us both.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know what else to do.
I'm feeling like you're doing the live and not me. I think I'm joined on your live, but it says that you've joined my side. So
This is going to be a hot topic tonight. I mean, it's just going to be powerful, all this interference.
Let me tell you something. All these interference always mean that there's great conversation. So we are going to just move with this conversation and say, hey, welcome to the Fireside Chat Series that is going on about all things childhood education, including technology
Yes.
and all of the hiccups that go on with technology. So definitely tell me what's going on in your world as I'm introducing this new platform about all things that are new in the era of 2024 with early childhood education and the landscape that has changed, that is constantly changing, and that with different aspects in different arenas. So first, let's take the time to welcome you and to introduce yourself and all the greatness that you have going on. I am not going to spoil it. I want you to share and tell us about you.
Okay. Well, my name is Deborah McClung, and I am officially a Georgia Peach. My dad says I'm born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut, but I've been in Georgia since '82, a very long time. This platform about parenting is a partnership with parenting is something I know firsthand. I became a parent 35 years ago, and that's where my journey began. Understanding the importance of educating my children. I'm on to educating grandchildren now. I've been in public education for 13 years now, and I've seen a lot during my journey, experienced a lot of ups and downs, but because it was my passion, I yet remain. And that is one of the things I want to encourage people. Let it be your passion for getting into the educational field, for one. I was so passionate about it. I became an author during this time. I've published authors that were, part of my children that were in my group. Just seeing the potential, and I provided a platform through my nonprofit, which is Brilliant Minds Writers Coalition, where I give the children a platform to speak, to voice their trials, their triumphs, in order to save lives. There's so much hurt and pain and trauma in our children these days that you see in the classroom, and so it really is going to help to partner with the parents who firsthand know their children. There's a great shift. So it just can't be the educators. It just can't be the administrators or legislators. We must partner and work in tandem with our parents in order to save our children. That is first and foremost in my journey through education. Right now, unfortunately, I had third grade this 23, 24 year, and I took a bad fall. Doing the
Oh.
teacher thing, putting the anchor chart up on the
Mhm.
wall, and I fell.
Mm.
So unfortunately, I am still out now, but I appreciate the opportunity to get on your platform and just talk about the experience and stuff. I cannot be silenced because the children need to hear our voice, whether I'm in the
Right.
classroom or on platforms such as yours. So I thank you for inviting me out tonight. And I guess that's it in a nutshell without boring everyone with everything
No,
else.
no. We love it because it gives so much depth to who we have that are educators who, again, you said it with great eloquency, the passion that has to be there with teaching these young children. And before you was coming on, I was talking about, such murmuring about, the children being out of school today and being on the virtual platform. And, it's so that it's not that we're not trying to be there with your kids. It's that we understand that if we have these little ones and they don't understand inclement weather and they don't understand that they need to put on clothes, they're going to take off all the gloves. They're going to have frostbite. So it's so many different more elements than just saying we don't want to educate your kids and we want them to be out of school. That's not it. And we've had the conversation with several educators that said parents have called them and complained about, why are we out of school so many days and what's going on? And it's like, everybody's safety is priority. Everybody's safety. That's first and foremost. So even with you talking about falling, we got to make sure you're safe. You talk about that foot injury. That's the thing that brought me to my knees in 2019. I was a rolling turn, and I was on crutches for the whole year, trying to getting ready to go and do some type of training out in the morning time. Not even doing anything, but just getting ready to go to work. But that foot injury puts you down, and sometimes it's divine to make you kind of stop and think, like, okay, what was I listening to where I had to have a foot injury to be able to slow me down to overcorrect and what has happened in that is this platform and everything else that has come with the consulting business after being in the classroom, after being in administration, after being in leadership. This now has evolved and been birthed as a result of that foot injury. So just getting your foot injury makes me wonder what is about to be birthed through you in this moment in time, besides that great platform that you're giving the children of voices, because it's always just a little bit of a hiccup in what we're already doing. It's a little hiccup to make you kind of stop and be like, hey,
So let's think about this here.
We're joining. I'm McKinnon and joining with you on the foot part over here, on the foot part. Mine was the right foot. Which one is yours?
Yeah, no, mine wasn't the foot. It's my whole body. So I fell off and I impacted the whole right side, but I injured my cervical spine, my left arm. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and I don't think I taught 15 days this year.
Really?
Being out. So children, parents, everyone listening, do not stand on the desk. The passion, it was just second day of school, teacher planning. And I took a fall off the desk. And I am so upset. I'm upset because my heart is in the classroom. I mean, I was ready. I was so ready. I mean, and then when I met my students, I just fell in love with my third grade class this year. And I knew it was going to be a marriage, right? So that's why the enemy tried to attack me, because he wanted to steal something that I was going to impart to those children. But God's faithful. Where I'm not there, he's got someone else to stand in the gap. Nevertheless, I fell, but my passion did not fall. My desire to be in the classroom did not fall. And, I inform my parents, I tell my children, and I set an expectation for them to still excel and learn even in my absence, because that's what I go in the classroom to do, set high expectations. I plan to impact them, no matter what the circumstances are. I pull them into my world. I let them into my world. I pull them, and that allows them to lower their guard and allow me into their world. And then we have a relationship. You build a relationship. And when you have that relationship with the children, it spills over. It's my intention to spill over to the parent. Talking about partnership with parents, when I can call that parent and sing the praises of their child or voice concern about their child, then they're more apt to receive my calls when I have to give that not so good news. But cultivating relationships from the onset is very crucial in the educational arena.
Right.
And partnershiping with parents is pivotal in the educational field. I just really feel that if we can get that triangle, child, parent, and teacher going, we've got a good thing going on.
And that's the thing, I don't know. And it's interesting that you say that, because a previous guest, which was, from a parent perspective, talked about how for her, where her suggestion for us is that for the elder ages, for her, the middle school and the senior year is where the fall off is, that their communication, that we coddle them in the early years all the way through elementary, like you said, and then when it gets to that age to where it's the senior year in high school or the junior year in high school, I don't even know who this stranger is that is influencing my child's life. And so we were talking about the parent engagement piece, like you said, that triangle. We cannot, the co-parenting relationship that we have with these families is real. We co-parent your children. We might not do the financial piece. Well, I would hiccup to say that we do, because if we buy a new classroom and we're doing things, we are putting finances in it, but we are definitely in this partnership together. And somewhere the conversation has to start over, or has to be rebirthed, that we are not doing this alone. We have to do this in collaboration with you, to know that we have the best interest, because always at the end of the day, the bottom line is the children get the short end of the deal. They get the short end of the deal, because as adults, we can't figure out what we need to do to pull together to give them the best of the world that they need to have. So I'm definitely, I cheerlead you on as a third grade teacher that still has that passion to know that, listen, this child coming here with me every day, I have to be able to communicate with you the good, bad, and the indifferent, not just the bad times, because that's what they always are talking about. We only call them when something bad is going on. And that's not what you want to hear. No one wants to hear just bad stuff in a relationship.
Right. Let me go a step further. How about that phone that's never answered? When they see your number coming, you don't even get the respect of having that parent take your call, because they know you've already established that kind of communication with the parent. And it's very unfortunate, because the child does suffer. They do suffer. I love at our school the curriculum night that we have. We're able to invite the parents into the school, into the very environment that we're entrusted with their children during the day. And the children sometimes get to be superstars by participating in the events, teaching the parents. Sometimes the parents don't know. So there's that level of intimidation that we want to break that wall down. There's that separation of, I don't know who this teacher is, who's teaching my child. We want to kick those doors open, right? So having events like that where we invite the community to come in, invite the parents to come in, it's monumental. It's so important. It's so important to have that parent to have the freedom to come in to your school and come down to your classroom when you want to. There used to be a day where they could just show up, they can look in your room and see. Now you have to schedule with the teacher, you have to go through the administration, they come through the speaker and announce, oh, such and such is coming. Well, if little Johnny knows his mom's in the office, get ready to come down, or they're going to put on their show. So it takes away the element of surprise, and it takes away that accountability piece, because if your child or the teacher knows at any given time a parent is able to come into the room to work or to assist or to bring a treat or whatever the nature of the visit is, you're more apt to be on your P's and Q's. But because of politics, there's that separation, and it just doesn't give the full autonomy to the classroom or the classroom teacher at that point, because you have to be accountable to the protocol of the building, of you know, everything like that. But just having that parent being able to come in, and I think that teacher is that first line of defense, because first of all, our children, being a third grade teacher, let me just say, sometimes they don't know how to effectively communicate. Now, when you're getting to fifth on up to high school, they may be able to you know, say a little clearer as to what's going on. But you know, the younger babies, I'm in, you know, K-5 on down. I've taught first, second, third, and I love that age group. I don't think I can miss that. I'm sorry. I have a passion for it. But, you know, those little runny nose and the crying, there's a special teacher for that age group, right?
It is.
But you have to teach them how to even talk to their parent, because they can go home and say one wrong thing, and now we have an irate parent. We have a behavior that we're not able to tame. We have a situation that's escalating, and they now want to bypass the teacher, bypass the principal, and go right down the district. And it's like, no. If we had had that situation and understanding with the child and being able to communicate effectively with that child, first of all, before they left our presence, to inform the parent before the child got home, and then have a civil conversation with the child in the present. I can't tell you the number of calls I said, well, is little Johnny standing right there? Could you call him into the room right now? Accountability piece, right? And my parents respect that, right? And so you want what's happening in the classroom to transfer to the home. And what's happening at home, you want that to be communicated to the classroom, so that we can best help that child, so they're not the ones caught in the fallout of things, like you're saying. It falls right back on the child.
To it, because again, the child is that's the product. We're trying to create or cultivate in them the ability to be able, like you said, to communicate, to have emotional regulation, to be able, and it's interesting that you bring that up, that there's times when you are teaching the little ones to communicate, and then they go back to a home environment where there is the lack thereof of communication. And here we are giving them voice. As you said, you have your platform that allows them to be able to talk about their trials, their tribulations, their hurts, their pains. But then you have an environment that they don't want to receive that, because you've already decided in your mind that I don't have the ability or the autonomy to have voice. You've already closed my voice off because I'm a child, and then now I become an adult who's an effective communicator. So to have that conversation and be like, let's start over to you and get over it. So now it's interesting that I have to push and be like, let me pay attention to your inability to communicate before I even broach this conversation, because there may be a gap that there is in even comprehension skills or ineffectiveness, that I'm going to trigger something. And that's the key, is that the children come and we're imparting, and it's as if you don't tell me what to do, I'm the parent. I'm that, and that old system and mindset is detrimental. It has to be eliminated, just as this part of this whole, as we said, with the pandemic, it broke something. It broke the mold of all things that are old. And if we don't get on board with what is moving in this new era, we're going to be left behind in the educational system with the children that are very innovative and moving forward. You cannot stay into that old wine mindset. Paradigms have to move. They have to move.
Right. They have to shift. They have to shift. And I think our parents are crying out for that shift as well. The best way they know how. They don't want to say, I've only had an 8th grade education. They don't want to have to tell you, I've got to work 2 jobs because my man walked out on me. They're not going to tell you that I'm sick and I hadn't been able to go to work and I don't have at home. So I have to send my child to school with no coat. So it's going to need the intuition of teachers. It's going to take all of us, not even just me. I mean, even the culture of teachers, at just modeling it for another teacher, how to best communicate, how to see it. If I don't see it, co-teacher, let me know. Principal, put me down. Request my child to come to the coat room so he can go home with the closet with something. It's going to take all of us. As passionate as I am, I'm not perfect. but I strive for it for these babies because
Right.
they're the innocent ones. And there's just knowing that parents, a lot of times, everybody's not a bad parent. They're
Mm-mm.
not bad parents. A lot
No,
of times they're
no.
ill informed. A lot of times they're working with
But
what they know and
they
what their
know.
parents have showed them.
Right.
And so by making this shift, to partner with parents, let them know you are excellent, you are important,
That's
you are
right.
necessary in the educating of your child. You
Right.
entrust them to me, but I still need you to help me help your
Help
child.
your
You
child.
know if your child ate, you know if your child heard an argument,
Right.
you know if your child is lacking or missing something. Communicate that to me. Hey, Miss McClung, little Johnny's a little off today because he didn't get to see his dad this weekend. So he's kind of pouting and
Right.
mad today. So I'm prepared. When little Johnny comes in, I'm ready. I'm like, hey,
Right.
give me how we doing. It's going to be an awesome day today, no
Right.
matter what. You know, I'm equipped to try to turn his day around
That's right.
because that's
That's
what
right.
that parent involvement, that parent community, parents are so important. I don't care what your educational
That's
level
right.
is.
That's right.
Parents, we need you. We need you. I don't care what your socioeconomic
That's correct.
situation is. Parents, we need you because you are the parent. We don't want to take your rights from you,
That's right.
right? We don't want to take your rights, parent, but we want to include you in this process.
And that's the
And
thing,
you know,
I loved when I was first, getting all my schooling and everything, and then it was a particular program called Parents as Educators, and
okay,
and I became that this you're the first teacher, and that was the first thing that they taught.
yeah,
Parent, you are the first teacher. We don't take that away from you. Again, we come in and we join with you.
right,
We don't become we're not that we are the experts when it comes to collectively educating, but each child has their own unique characteristics, their own unique things that about them that we help to cultivate, but we want to partner with you. We do
yeah,
not want to butt heads with you. So if you hear this message and you hear it loud and clearly, we are here to partner with you.
yeah,
We need you to join hands with us and not take away your hands. We do not care. As she said, Ms. Deborah said, we do not care about your economic status. We don't care about you are a parent first. You are
right,
this child's parent. We honor that you are even allowed us to be able to stand in front to
yeah,
provide an educational
it's not
platform
right,
for your child. And we want you to understand in this new era of making great partnerships and doing family engagement, we have to do it together, or these little ones are going to suffer, and we
right,
cannot allow them to suffer any longer because we're ill-equipped to be able to say, let's join hands and partner together.
right, right.
Where do you, if you were to give some suggestions, and you gave some great ones about what can happen in the school systems and the platforms besides the curriculum night, what other plugins could happen to allow that parent involvement piece so that there is an understanding that I want you to be as involved in the open houses or whatever? What would you say, being from the classroom perspective, what would you think would be something that a parent would want to happen in addition to the curriculum night?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Thank you.
One thing that has been big with me, especially at the third
Mhm,
grade level,
mhm,
was the concept of uh, parent, how do I say it? Parent teachers. Parents coming in, taking a small group,
mhm,
reading with that small group, cutting out things. You know, there's different school systems, even as a student teacher. There were like student centers where
mhm.
parents would come in and they would make all the things for the teachers to free up the teachers' time to focus more on the academics. Well, we don't have those in a lot of our schools.
Okay.
And so just to have another pair of eyes,
Mhm,
and especially that child that is most challenging. Let
mhm,
me just talk about that child that is
mhm,
challenging.
mhm.
Because all our kids that come in, they don't make our job easy by no stretch of the
No, no,
imagination.
no,
They
no,
are.
no.
They make you step outside that book knowledge that you acquired, right?
Right,
You got to put
right.
on a mommy hat, you
You
have
gotta
to
put
put
on
on a nurse hat, you
all
got to
the
put
hats,
on the
all the
psychologist
hats,
hat,
all the
everything
hats.
to deal
Right.
with these little people, right?
Mhm.
And so that child that is most challenging, where do you think that challenge is going to be? What it's going to do? Whether it's going to escalate or
Mhm.
de-escalate when they see their parent in there in a small group reading a book or cutting out paper.
Right.
Mama now has the eye on it, right? Mama's watching now. Mama sees the environment, not just mama, but daddy. Sometimes the family dynamic is a grandmother, right? I say the guardian because the family dynamics, they're so different now. The families are so diverse. You just can't say a mom and pop. You just have to say the guardian, right? So whoever is at home taking care of you, if they are working in tandem with your teacher, coming in to assist in your classroom, putting together folders, writing, doing labels, things that are academic, so that you're not breaching, the grades and, betraying someone else's grade to a parent. There are a lot of roles, a lot of things that parents can do in the classroom as far as parent volunteers, classroom volunteers. And I had a couple at sign up. There are intake forms that I give my parents, getting to know your child. Tell me something about your child, the intake form. I have little games and activity to include them. So actually on my first day of meeting my parents, I give them homework. I give them homework, and then they bring it in. Either the child brings it in after the night, but what that involves them. It gives them information about what we're doing. It lets them know, I'm interested enough in your child. I want you to tell me what you know about your child to help me to be successful with your child. So just including them, home projects, they're for the children, but a lot of times they're for the parents as well. And I know as a parent, I say, wow, this is your homework. You feel that you're being pulled into it. So I think more projects that go home where the parent can work in tandem with the child. The child has to explain to you what they did in school, what the outcome of this project is. They have to read it together. They have to join forces in order to get this project grade, right? In order to get this project done. So I think projects include parents into the academic, the classroom. I think volunteering brings them into the classroom. I think hosting events to bring the parent and the community. PTA, it brings them in, and then breaking out into sessions. Any opportunity where the child can work with the parent and the parent and child can work with the teachers, it's going to be a win-win for everyone. Because even when they come to my classroom, I still learn from my children. I said, we're here to teach and learn, right? When they respond in the morning, I take roll. Little Johnny, he says, I'm here and I'm ready to learn. You make a declaration in the morning. Why are you in Mrs. McClung's classroom? I'm here and I'm ready to learn. And I convey that to my parents. When you cross this threshold, your child needs to be ready to learn. And when you set expectations for the child, it should influence the household. Mom, I got to get my homework done. My teacher don't want to hear that. I need to bring that back in. And when you talk to the parent, let them know the urgency, because I want to take your child to here. I see the potential in your child to do thus and so. And so back to my nonprofit, one of the students, he was actually a second grader when he wrote his book, Captured Moments of COVID. He was a second grader when we began the project. He finished as a third grader. He wrote his chapter. His mom was right there by him on screen doing the workshop that I provided for him. And one she said that to me, that I wish every parent would be infected with this statement. She said, Miss McClung, how could you believe in my son and I don't? So we want our parents to know that I believe in your child. I believe in your child, and I want you to believe in them. I want you to be open to what I'm saying, and when we work in tandem, you'll begin to see the potential. I didn't know he could do multiplication like that. I didn't know he likes to role play, and he did great as the wolf in the Three Little Pigs. I mean, you didn't know he had those theatrical abilities. But when you work in tandem, when you come into the classroom, when you come to the meetings, when your voice is heard, parent, it's a much better system, I think.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to that point to talk more about that particular platform of giving them voice and how that has helped and or brought out children, because sometimes you have kids that fall back, that push forward, those that don't have a voice, don't know how to speak, don't know how to, you know, do those things. Tell us about that whole concept, because that is a very, it brings all subject matters together. Like you said, literacy, your social emotional part, your ability to have self-esteem, everything. So speak more about that platform and how it evolved and how it's moving and what you see and would like for it to do as we're moving into this new era in education in 2024.
Okay, so I realized during COVID, we were hearing from the medical industry, we were hearing from the educational industry, we were even hearing from parents. But the population we weren't hearing from were the children, and they were impacted as well. And so I wanted to give them a voice, because when they came to class, we started as being at home, fully virtual. Then we started doing hybrid, virtual and classroom.
Right.
And you begin to, I began to see the fears. I would hear their voices. I would talk to them. They would make little comments, and I'd take in their facial expressions, and I'm like, wow, this little person's holding in a lot, right? You would have the child that would come that is so sleepy. You're like, why are you so sleepy? You just, you know, you're here early. Well, there's a burden on them. Their mom's not home. They're sitting here having to take care of their siblings because their parents not there. So they're taking on those roles, right? You're home alone. You're fearful. You're hearing this pandemic's out there. Pandemic. I don't even know what that word means. Who's explaining to the children what this actually means? Are you going to die? Some of them actually lost parents. Well, I see mommy crying. I see daddy upset. Grandma's not here anymore. What happened? The children do not have a voice to say, I miss my grandma. I'm devastated. My grandma would take me when my mom would punish me. You know, there's no voice for them to express. So, in speaking with the children and what they wanted to do, helping them to dream again during the pandemic. I wanted to influence and instill hope in them. So we talk about dreams. We talk about future. We talk about what do you want to be when you grow up. And so those two topics together inspired me to say, I want these children to tell their story. Would you like to become an author? Something they never even thought about. An author. I'm just a second grader. I'm just a third grader. I had fifth grade and third grader by the time he was finished. So I created the a workshop, a writing workshop. Those that signed up and took my program that particular summer, we went all through it and heard their stories. I would guide them. I would do the formatting. I would help them through the brainstorming, through their brain fog. And one little girl, one of the authors, she was just so educated. She was just so, and I won't name who she was, but I was like, wait a minute, can I really do this with this particular child, right? But I'm like, wait a minute, let her know that I am the teacher. I know, right? So I did just a simple exercise with her for her to come up with 20 ideas in 10 minents, right? I just give her a topic. I'll just say, what are you happy about? What are you sad about? What would you change? What were you most fearful about, right? And you had to write something in each of those categories. Well, she thought I was kidding, and then she looked away. And I was busy on my computer. I said, oh, you have 8 more minutes. She got with it. She finally realized, oh, Miss McClung is serious. I better get ready putting things down. After 10 minutes, she had 19 new ideas and 5 in each one of the categories. You hear what I'm saying? And I said, well, how many ideas do you have on that paper? And 19 ideas. One category, she only put 4 ideas and not 5.
Right.
Oh, that just excites me. Breakthrough. You do have something to write about. Look at all these things, okay? So, and let her know you do have something to talk about, and what you talk about is going to be important
Right.
to you. And the way we write it and the words we put down there, there's going to be someone out there that's going to read your book, your words, your experience, and it's going to be important to them. It's going to inspire them to know, let me plug in my phone because we're not going to be cut off. It's going to inspire someone to know that if this child wrote about her experiences, then they're going to be able to write about theirs as well. Now, also, one of these, now, three of the students were at my school at that time. I would see them, I would impact their lives, I would interact with them, but the story that is in their book was nothing I would have known just passing this child in the hallway.
Wow.
It made me cry. It hurt my heart. It made me want to embrace her, but it made me rejoice in the fact that she was able to be transparent in the book.
Right.
She was transparent with her word and with her experiences. She was unashamed. She was unafraid. And that's what I want for my children through my nonprofit, ages 5 to 25, because even into the early college year, there's abuse. There's neglect, there's hunger, there's starvation, there's fear, there's trauma, there's so much. There are educational gaps. We keep talking about the educational gaps, but educational gaps are there. Why? There's an underlying cause for that. You can't sleep at night. You're hearing gunshots. Your socioeconomic environment. There's a one dad. There's no dad. There's no mom. You know, all kind of things that impact a child's learning. And if we can't target what is bothering our children, we're never going to get to the learning part of it. We're never going to get there. And what I was most proud about, the only boy author in Captured Moment in COVID, he went on to be a public speaker because he spoke at the Black Child Development Institute, in Atlanta. So I'm a member of that, and he was invited as the author of the book. He was phenomenal.
Wow.
A third grader. And one of the people in the audience, they're like, well, can he read? You know, you get the book, After a Moment of COVID, you'll see Cameron. He's the only boy author. And they asked, could he read his chapter from the book? He stood in front of the people unafraid. And then they were purchasing his books. He was running out. He said, Miss McClung, I need more books.
Wow.
So what did I do? I gave him my books.
That's right.
Books,
that's right.
And you get the proceeds from it. So they not only have a platform to develop their voice, but they also walk away with a product, a means to change their environment, to impact. Okay.
Impact.
So it's multifaceted. So it's taken off. And so what I did in 2022, it was so successful with the book signing and everything that I decided I wanted to do it on a broader scale with more children without cost being a factor, because it costs to publish, it costs to create, it costs for time to be there with the kids, right? So I created the nonprofit for people to hear it and want to help more people, more children, really, young adult, adolescents, to break free of the bonds that hold them, to break the chains that hold them. There's too much suicide. There's too much gang-related issues. There's too much murder. I mean, children are even murdering parents now because of the dysfunction in the household. We need to bring parents in, right? They may not know who to reach. Well, we know the what do you call them? Social workers. We know agencies. Your child has autism. Well, we have a department that can help you to reach your child and educate him at home, help you. They just need resources. They need a place to go to. They don't want to beat their children. They don't want to avoid their children or starve their children or stifle their children. They need help. And the way we do that is we take them by the hand and we invite them in.
That is so instrumental. Thank you. Definitely. It lends to the conversation again that there's so much going on that our babies are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, that there is no way that I can come in if I'm hungry. Again, if you, like you said, if I've heard gunshots all night. I remember when we had a partnership with the one of the Atlanta housing projects in that right by the federal pen, and it was just it baffled every last one of us as educators as we did what we call the walk, because they wouldn't provide a bus for the children to go to school because it wasn't so many radius for them to go. It has to be away from the bus stop in the school. But as we walked through that housing project, the amount of gun shells that were on the ground. So you got the federal pen who's practicing shooting, and then you have shots going on. It becomes a part of your whole you don't even react anymore, you don't even flinch anymore, because it just becomes a part of your culture. But it's still abnormal for that to occur. And I would never, we couldn't walk by ourselves. We had the guys, the gentleman wouldn't let us walk through that, because it was a dangerous environment. But we were there because we were creating the ask that happened from the principal was that we had a literacy program. And what the conversation was is that she was stating that the children that pretty much left, if the 5th grade was it for them, that was like senior year. That was it. Like, they didn't go to middle school. They didn't go to high school. It was as if we were getting recruited for the next adult thing that we shouldn't be doing. But the whole thing was we did a literacy program in the library that they had there. And we had to become a part of the community. And in becoming a part of the community, as outsiders coming in, we made sure every Saturday we were there. And it was such a dynamic conversation, because you got to see the generations, what we would call 2-gen approach to raising children. There were 4 and 5 generations of families living in a home, and they would come and just sit in the library. They would be around the periphery of the library, but we were doing different things every week that we can get there. And the one thing that we had to tell some of our educators that didn't know, that was young and they didn't know, was like, they may not bathe, but the fact that they show up every day, every Saturday that we're here, we're going to show up every Saturday. We're going to be here every Saturday, whether they bathe or not, whether they have clothes or not, whether or not, we're going to make sure they eat. We're going to make sure that we're doing literacy activities for them, because it is crucial to get them involved and engaged. And that was the thing that was to hear you say, to give them voice, because these were children that all they wanted to know was somebody cared about them. That's all they wanted.
Exactly.
That's all they wanted. That's all they wanted. And I was able to reach out in the community and ask gentlemen that wanted to participate, and I got such a great response of men that were like, Tanya, what can we do? What can we do to give back? What can we do? And I was like, if you just show up, they will come, because they have some influence. You have a voice. And I would never forget. It was this one guy, and he could have been a preteen, but he stood around. He came with his sibling, but he kind of stood on the back of the wall. And I was like, something's going on, guys. Like, I just need you to reach out to him. I'm gonna let you guys do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna, let you go. Come to find out, after weeks of him being there over and over again, of course they were trying to recruit him to be in a gang, and he was torn between what decision he had to make.
Right.
Why
you have to be patient with that?
Why? And it was like it was a refuge for him to just come to the library, to be able to kind of escape that world, because outside they're everywhere. And to come in here and just be with you guys and watch my sibling be able to learn how to read or be able to be a public speaker, it was all the things that we could just think about, because the ask was, hey, these children are not meeting these scores. What can you guys do as an educational group coming together to help this problem that we have? And it would hurt us so bad when they closed the library. I think that was the most destroying thing for me. I was like, why would you take something that was positive in an
Right.
environment that was so riddled with all the violence and all the things that you know, and you took the one positive place where you had
Right.
the elders coming to use the computer, you had the elders coming to read, you had the support of everything, and it's like it was so frustrating that it made you think, is this by
Is
design that you don't
it
want to put
intentional?
positive things?
Right. Right. Right.
Like, this is a systematic design that you're taking away the things that are positive in these communities,
Right.
so that they can continue to perpetuate this cycle that's going on and
Negative
on and on and
behaviors.
on.
Yeah.
So to hear you come up with this platform, to be able to say, to give these children a voice and be able to say, hey, I can give a little bit of a bleep without having to shame my parents, to say, but this is how I feel and this is what I have to do, because
Right.
so many of us educators, we miss it. We miss those marks of those children that are talking to us, that say, hey, I'm hungry, I'm sleepy, I can't learn if I'm in that environment. I
Yeah.
cannot learn if all of that is going on. But to
On.
give you space and to give you agency to say, let me give them pen and paper. Let me give them expressive ways and outlets to be able to let us know, hey,
That's right.
I got my hand raised back here in the back of the classroom. Hey, just
Absolutely.
let me know. So I applaud you for even being in the trenches and knowing what's going on. As I read your bio, and I know you were author of 2 books that were talking about being in the trenches, and knowing that
Yes.
we are on the front line. We
Yes.
we take it all. We take it all. We do it all, and we take
Yes.
it all. And we are not
Yes.
willing to come out of the front line, because it will cost. If I am a soldier that's down, it's going to cost some child to not benefit whatever God has bubbling out of me to be able to spread over to them. So I get it, and I understand that right now you're a down soldier, but it's only for a little while. It's only for you to come back stronger. It's only for
Yes.
you to
I believe it. I believe it.
regroup
I believe
and come back ready to fire up what's going on. And I can see a relationship that would cultivate more partnerships with people wanting to join the nonprofit, because it is a voice to these little ones that don't have a voice.
Yeah.
Silent witnesses. They're silent witnesses, and that's a whole nother conversation for me to talk about, that I stand on the platform about being a silent witness, witnessing all things that you shouldn't see with your little eye gates and hear with your eye gates, but you have to take it all in, and it becomes the traumas that are
Yeah.
triggered in you, but you're giving
Right.
them a platform to be able to write it. And that right there,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
itself is the God gift that he has given you. So again,
It is
applaud
God.
you on that. Push forward on it. We'll love to have you back on the platform as talking, because we're going to be talking about vendors that are able to give services and provide,
Okay.
that we don't know about, all these great tools that are in the community, that all educators that have been in the industry for years, you steadily birthing. You steadily birthing. Yeah, you may be a grandparent now, and 31 years ago you were a parent, but you still birthing. You're still birthing.
Absolutely. Yes.
Anything that you want to add, because I know, and after a while they're gonna cut it. I don't know if it's on your side or my side, but you'll see a timer that says that it'll time out, but we'll keep going for that. But anything that
Okay.
you want to add about the partnership, the new era, and where we are, and what you see as a forecast for the things that should be. You already shared some of it, but just speak from the heart of what you think we as a collective group of educators, leaders, administrators need to do to strengthen our side and us to move and step up into the boots of what we have outside of being systems that we have to, because we have to operate within
We
systems.
have to operate within the
We
systems.
have to operate within the system, but when we can color outside the edge of the system and color outside
Mm-hmm.
the edge, what can we
Mm-hmm.
do to color outside the edge?
Well, to close it up, I just want to leave these 3 points. And I mean, there are many other points that people can gravitate to, but these 3 really work for me. And I want everyone who's listening, everyone who wants to enter into the educational field, which I hear the numbers are really dwindling for those that want to become teachers. So I really want you to reflect on, is it your passion? Is it something you love to do? You know, the Holy Spirit gave me a question. I was in corporate America 26 years before I became an educator. This is my second career. And so I had to ask myself the question, what would I want to do if I never got paid for it? And working with children, do what you love. And when you work within your passion, it's not a job.
That's right.
Okay. It's work that needs to be done, but it doesn't feel like a job to you. I go in there and I love what I do. If I had to move something out the way, it would be the politics. I would love to go to that chalkboard, Little House on the Prairie, and just teach from the book, give them workbooks. They have books. I remember carrying books home. Give them books. Never mind all this computer, everything.
That's
let
right.
computer be a classroom.
Yeah.
But let the basic reading, writing, arithmetic, you remember that?
Back to the 3 R's. Back to the 3 R's.
Let that, yeah. And I would really remove the politics so that my passion can just flourish in there. And that's to educate the children. Right. Then make sure, guys, your personality calls you to be in this environment. If you don't like kids, don't be a teacher.
Please.
You've got to love them.
Please.
Children know you cannot lie to a child.
Cannot.
They know if you care about them. If you have that personality that if you ain't get your morning coffee, you don't want to see a child, don't be a teacher. Please. They're already up early getting on them buses coming to see you. So make sure that second, your personality is conducive to being in that learning environment, because the children come with a lot of things. And they, first of all, need to be met with that loving, understanding personality. If they're met with that, then you can begin to teach them. If they close that door and they don't like you because they know you don't like them, it's a done deal. And that last thing, make sure it's your purpose. Make sure that it's your purpose to come to that classroom to impact and to change lives. Most of all, make sure that you want to add value to each and every child that you touch. And not just the children, impact your staff. Model for them. You have teachers that are veteran teachers that still don't know. Be willing to humble yourself and to be that teacher. Not only in your classroom, go to another classroom. Teach in the break room. Teach in the ladies' room. Teach with passion. Your peers. Because we don't know it all. Like I said, I have the passion. I'm not perfect. So in closing, just make sure you have the passion, the personality, and your purpose is to impact and change lives and add value.
And you added the fourth P, the peers. Co-teaching and co-mingling. But for us, it's like somewhere we lost that, that we can't do. We do not do this in silo. We are not an island. We cannot teach in an island. The children are not an island, but we have to come together. And it's so much where, like you said, so much personalities that are conflicting and so many, and it lends back to what we said, so many emotional traumas that are unhealed, that are unidentified, that the teachers have to go back and learn emotional regulations. They have to go back and figure out what is going on. We never had the opportunity to even know. They teach everything else. You teach large motor, small motor, cognitive, but nobody ever talked about that EQ. Nobody talked about that emotional quotient and being able to say, hey, something's going on with me, because it was always, you just be quiet, you be quiet. And so it's that whole conversation, what you just said, that goes into all of that purpose, passion, personality, is back to, do they know you? They know you don't like them. They know that. And please, and I'm so famous. If you work with me, I'm so famous. So go ahead, get your purse. Go home, add another P2, go ahead, get your purse. If you're a female, go ahead, get your purse, because that means you're finna clock out, because I've already identified that you don't want to be here. So there's no need to continue with all of the negative attitude and negative drama that you're about to bring into these babies' lives that come into my environment that I am being an administrator over. So go ahead and clock out. Get your purse. Go ahead. They know that's my famous line, because if I walk in and I see anything, I am an advocate for prevention of child abuse. And I mean, if I see anything that's an inkling, because all I want you to know is that our responsibility is to make them be safe, is to make them safe. Anytime I see that you about to make them unsafe and make them feel unwanted, go ahead, get your purse. You go ahead and get your purse, because this ain't your passion. This ain't your purpose. This ain't why you want to be here with your peers. This is your personality sucks. So I agree totally,
Yeah.
100% with all of that, what you just said.
Yeah.
And as we close, we are not departing from this conversation. We are not departing. We have joined, connecting hip to hip, side to side, foot to foot in partnership with you, because we want to see more great things. I need you to be back on the platform about the book, because I can see more collaborative partnerships as we move forward, and definitely having a platform for voice for these little children. Like you said, it goes from one age all the way up to 25, because we still, again, dealing with emotional regulation. But to be able to lend a voice for people to have this conversation, and to I want to thank you for taking time, even through the technical difficulties. As you said, we knew it was going to be great conversation. We knew it was going to be something that was a purpose, and why God had us connect together, and all of the hiccups, but we pushed through, as we always will. So it, like I said, it won't be goodbye. It's just going to be see you later. And
Exactly.
I enjoyed this conversation. We will reach out. I will repost it so you can replay it. And it may be on your side as well. I'm not sure how we did it, but we worked today.
Right,
we made it work. We made it work.
Thank God.
We made it work. And that's all we can do. To God be the glory. And we will continue this conversation. I don't want to take any more of your time tonight, but it was definitely a lively conversation. And I will put a replay up on my page and put the information. And definitely I'm going to put those P's. I'm going to put your P's. I'm going to requote your P's. So give it time. In about 24 to 40 hours, it will be reposted on this. And then you can also put it on your Instagram and wherever you need to, so that this conversation is continued and definitely touching more lives. Okay. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, for being at our fireside chat with Miss Deborah, and all the wonderful things as a third grade teacher that she does. And it's only going to be a little bit of time, and you'll be back. You will be back with them little bitty babies. But in the meantime, take care of yourself, because self-care is more important. Put your oxygen mask on first, as they always tell you. Put your oxygen mask on. So your little breakdown was for you to put your oxygen mask on, so you can come back more revitalized to push and bring more authors through that platform that you have. So good night, and we will talk later, okay?
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.